want to tell you what this month in radio history. Let's go back to August 11th, 1942. We were all much younger back then. Actress Hedy Lamarr, you remember her. She came from our neighborhood. Steve dated her. I can't talk too loudly. I don't want this to get out of his headphones. I don't want it to bleed out of his headphones and get him in trouble later. But Hedy Lamarr and Steve would go.
She was a babe.
Ooh-wee. That's a bigger story. Let's talk about the history, though. And composer George Antheil received U.S. patent for spread spectrum. Now, we can talk about who got to spread spectrum first. Was it Steve? Was it George Antheil? I'm going with Steve on that one. Steve for the win. But according to the record books, let the record show, August 11th, 1942, Hedy and George receive a patent.
Steve got the Hedy.
He got it all first. Ruined it. August 12th, 1960, much later on, we were still little G's back then. USA launches Echo 1, the first communications satellite, the very next day. But again, August 13th in 1902, we were real young, way before Hedy Lamarr came around. The Radio Act of 1912 is approved. The act was the country's first legislation to require licenses for radio stations. It was eventually found insufficient to control interference among naval, amateur, and commercial stations and was replaced with the Radio Act of 1927. And on August 27th, 1910, James McCurdy, a Canadian, closed the window. You guys remember that? Here comes the Canadians. Close the door, man. That's an old one. That's an oldie but a goodie. Canadian aviation pioneer sends the first aircraft-to-ground wireless message, and that catches you up on this month.
Sorry, Uncle Paul.
Radio history.
To join the 100 Watts in a Wire community, visit 100wattsindawire.com.